For those of you that adore European sound, we've got a brand that we're going to be focusing in on today that offers speakers, subwoofers, as well as amplifiers. On the menu, Gladen. And we've got product expert GERMAN SCHULMEISTER joining us to give us all the details. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by Sirius XM, all about Gladen. And it starts now. What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected here, brought to you by Sirius XM, of course. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and I'm promising you that we are diving into some European sound, more specifically, German sound from a brand called Gladen. Now, if those of you don't know, this is a brand that is rich with product, especially in the speaker range, but they also make solutions in subwoofers as well as amplifiers. As mentioned, we've got their product expert, GERMAN, in the studio with us today. GERMAN, give us a quick breakdown of all the great category of products that we'll be covering today.
Hi, Ben. It's great to be here with you today. We're going to be covering our full line of speakers, our aerospace top-of-the-line speakers, our new launch for the North American market, the Pro series of speakers. We're going to be covering the RS and the Alpha speakers. We're also going to be talking about our subs, our RSX and RS subs, and we're also going to talk about our RC amplifiers.
Lots of great German engineered product that we're going to be discussing today. But first, a message from our partner, Sirius XM, reminding dealers why they love it. And when we come back, let's get into some German goodness in Gladen.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from Sirius XM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling Sirius XM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love Sirius XM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling Sirius XM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling Sirius XM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability. People love it.
All right, thanks for tuning in. So, GERMAN, let's start. Let's kind of get the story straight. Give us a little background for those that might be hearing about Gladen for the first time. Who is Gladen? What's this brand all about?
Well, Ben, Gladen was founded in the 90s by his founder, Henning Gladen. His background is an aerospace engineer, but he also had a passion for music. So his concept was really simple. He was combining his passion for music, for the love of music, with his hobby, which was building speakers at the time, and combined with his background in aerospace engineering, he put all of that together to create the best speaker possible, which is what he did with his flagship series, the Aerospace.
Absolutely an interesting and unique story, might I say, with that aerospace engineering kind of background. But we'd like to see how this translates into products. So we're going to start from the very top, guys. This is the pinnacle of the offering from Gladen in the Aerospace series. GERMAN, give us all the details about this top-of-the-line audiophile-grade set of speakers.
With the Aerospace series of speakers, then it's actually one of probably my favorite speaker ever. And it has a bunch of cool features. I have a set with me. Let me show you. Let me start, guys, with the presentation. When you buy an Aerospace speakers, it comes in this beautiful wooden box with the Gladen name engraved on it. This is actually one set of the tweeters. We have two offerings in tweeters. These are, I'm going to take it off the box right now. This is on here. This is a 28mm tweeter. It's a really big tweeter with a low FS. That means you can cross it really, really low. And it's intended to use on two-way applications. It goes paired with our 6.5-inch mid-bass I'm holding right here. It's a really beautiful, really transparent, delicate, articulate mid-bass. It can also handle a lot of power. I mean, if we see that basket, that beautiful asymmetrical design, you see the spokes are different on the top than on the bottom. It has a top indication of how a speaker should be mounted because they have a directional design. If you see the cone, there are 7 layers where the cone is compressed with different types of coatings and papers to give it rigidity and lightweight. I mean, even the face plug is designed to improve the response of the speaker when you use it in a two-way application. But what happens when we want to use it in a three-way? The Aerospace also has offering for an 80mm mid-range. This little small guy here, which is an 80mm or 3-inch mid-range. It can play also low enough to pair really well with any three-way system, and it's small. This is what I like about this this mid-range. It's fairly small, so if you're building a custom application, you don't have to build like a big enclosure or a big pod for the mid-range. You can blend it in with any interior of any car really, really easily. So as we can see here, the Aerospace mid-base comes in two offerings. There's a version optimized for a two-way with a face flag, and there's also a version with a dust cup, which is optimized for a three-way setup. Now, if we're doing a three-way setup, it doesn't make any sense to use such a big tweeter as a 28 millimeter. So Aerospace also comes up with a 20 millimeter tweeter. It's way smaller and it's intended only to play on the high frequency spectrum. So it's the perfect pairing for either building a two-way or a three-way setup. Aerospace Series got you covered.
Well, Herman, this next series of speakers we're pretty excited about because, from my understanding, this is kind of like a North American brand new release of the Gladen Pro Series. Tell us all about it.
Correct, Ben. This is a new release for the North American market, and let me tell you, the response we got so far with these speakers, it's amazing. I mean, everybody that hears, we had a demo car at last Knowledge Fest at Indy. People were blown away with how the truck sounded. We have on these pictures, we can take a look at the Pro 165 and the Pro 25, the two-way offering, and there's really no secret what makes it Pro Lane so good. If you look at the speakers, it's the Aerospace DNA mixed with the old Zero Pro speakers that we have. So what the engineers at Gladen did, they took all the FEM analysis and the aerospace engineering that made the aerospace speaker so good, and we combined them with the paper cone that made the Zero Pro speaker so characteristic. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, if we look at the next picture, we can see a close-up of the Pro 165, which is a 6.5-inch mid-base. You can see the same basket as the Aerospace mid-base, but with a ferrite magnet and with a bigger motor. It has a 38-inch millimeter voice coil. It's most cases it's almost as big as many subwoofer. I mean, it's a 6.5-inch speaker that can take 150 watt RMS with triome impedance. It just gets down, it gets loud with a lot of authority, minimal distortion. I mean, you will believe it's an 8-inch instead of a 6.5-inch. That mid-base, it's one of my favorites for sure. Also, our next picture, we can see the full offering, which is comprised of a 6.5-inch speaker that can work just on a two-way or a three-way. We have an 80 millimeter or 3-inch mid-range, intended, of course, for three-way applications, and the Pro 25 millimeter tweeter, which is also intended for two-way and three-way application. That tweeter can also be taken apart for if you're doing an OEM integration. It can fit even in the smallest locations. I mean, overall, it's a great, and it's a great speaker set, and I'm really excited about having them in North America.
So first off, congratulations on the launch, Herman, of these new Pro Series speakers. They look absolutely stunning, and I'm sure they sound incredible as well. As we move down the line, we got a lot of different series to cover. This one probably, I would argue, is maybe one of the most successful as far as popularity, maybe its price point. I'll let you kind of explain the features, but we're talking about the RS Series.
Yes, and the RS Series is also a really exciting product from Gladen. It's our midline offering of speakers, but I would call it midline on a price point, not on a sound performance, because let me tell you, those speakers sound amazing for the price. I haven't personally heard any other speaker sound this good at that price point. And it also comes with a complete offering. We have a two-way 6.5 component, three-way 8-inch and tweeter, and we also have some special products that we're going to be mentioning now too. But as we can see in this picture, there's a three-way component set from Gladen, which is a 6.5-inch mid-base. It's a fiberglass cone with a special dust cap that is designed to improve the upper mid-range frequency. We have an 80 millimeter or 3-inch mid-range that can again fit on many stock applications, or it's also great if you're building a custom A pillar. We also have our 25 millimeter tweeter, which is a new tweeter for the RS series. It was redesigned completely from the ground up. So a tweeter that has a great off-axis response. It's really smooth, it's detailed, but it also has a lot of information on the upper frequency range. On our next picture, we have also a new offering for the RS line, which is the RS 200. It's an 8-inch two-way component. Again, it's really great component for the price point. I mean, there are many cars in the North American market that demands an 8-inch mid-base on the door. This is the perfect component for it. Again, great price performance value. I just love this speaker. The 8-inch mid-base, it's phenomenal. But we also, if we look at the next picture, we have a really interesting and pretty unique offer. We have our 38 millimeter tweeter, which is the one that we're using on the RS series too. We did a master tech training recently with Orca for the dealers in the USA, and we did a Camry with these 38mm tweeters on the dash. There's a big place there to mount a big tweeter. These tweeters can play from roughly 1,000 hertz and up, and we pair them with the 8-inch mid bass, and all the dealers that heard the car were blown away. I mean, it's for the price, it's an amazing feature, and it's really cool that you can have a tweeter that can play so low, especially when you're doing a two-way in a stock location like on a dash of a Toyota or a GM or similar vehicle. We also have a 3-inch standalone mid-range, the 80mm RS mid-range. In case a dealer is looking to upgrade from a two-way component to a three-way, they can buy the 3-inch mid a la carte, so they can easily convert a two-way system into a three-way component. Again, all of these speakers, as all of Gladen speakers, are 3-ohm, which makes them extract even more power out of your amplifiers. When here in the studio, we have a set of the RS 165.2, which is our two-way component speaker for you guys to take a look. I mean, we're going to start with the mid bass. If you see, it's a pretty robust mid-range. You have 8 mounting points if you want to do a completely solid installation. Fiberglass cone, which is both rigid and lightweight at the same time. We have our proprietary dust cap, which improves as we mentioned before, the higher end of the frequency response. Also, if you look at the basket and at the size of the motor, I mean, this thing, it's massive, it's solid. The basket is form steel, which is really, really solid. It has a unique shape that was redesigned from the ground up. Has a big voice coil, a nice ferrite magnet. I mean, this mid bass is a beast for its first price point. But there's also the rest of the cool features of the component is the tweeter. And the key fact to me for this tweeter is that you can, as we're showing, it has a really beautiful grill if you're doing a custom installation, but also if you're doing an OEM installation, you can take the tweeter apart and you can mount it. I mean, it's no secret why this tweeter was designed the way it is. That size of basket fits in many of the European cars as a drop-in speaker. If you take the whole thing apart, that tweeter will drop in almost all of the European vehicles. We also have a nice crossover in case of our dealers want to run it in a passive configuration. We have the built-in crossover with adjustments inside it for the tweeter level, for the slope of the crossover frequency. I mean, it's a phenomenal design on a crossover for these type of speakers. We also have a special solution in the RS series of speakers, Ben, for when space is a constraint. We have the RS Slim series of components. So let's say you're building a classic car, a custom, or you don't have enough depth to mount a traditional 6.5-inch mid bass. I mean, look at this mid bass. The motor is mounted on the front so that we can keep this space compact. I mean, it's a great choice for, as I said, when you're building a car that you need to build custom kick panels or space is a constraint. This is the solution that we provide for you guys. It's a 6.5-inch two-way component with its tweeter and its crossover. The crossover is the same as the regular installation. The tweeter, it's also a smaller version of the tweeters we've shown before. But again, great solution for when space does matters. We also offer a complete line of coaxials in the RS series, which is named RC line. So it's a 6.5-inch coaxial with a directional tweeter. The tweeter is not just facing forward. Again, as all Gladen speakers, is designed for an vehicle OEM application, so the tweeter is slightly aimed towards the up. We have a 6.5-inch coaxial, 5.25, 4-inch coaxial, 6x9. I mean, full offering of coaxial from Gladen to pair with the RS series of components.
And finally, we're now down to the entry point for Gladen. Now, we don't want you to think that there isn't opportunity here for a really great quality OEM style replacement upgrade, because Gladen's got you covered on that front as well with the Alpha series.
Correct, Ben. When you're looking for a great sound quality, but the budget is a little bit tight, that's where the Alpha series got you covered. And we have a full offering of speakers on the Alpha series. We have a 6.5-inch component. We have a 5.25-inch component, 4-inch component. We also have a full line of coaxial, 6.5, 5.25, 4-inch, and a 6x9 coaxial. As you said, great for drop-in, for speaker location, for stock speaker locations. We have a 3-ohm impedance on all of our line, which again gets you a little bit more power for your money. They're really sensitive. So if you're using an amplifier with really low power, or even if you're using the speakers as deck power, they will sound really, really good. let's take a close-up look about the Alpha speaker, which, as you said, it might be entry level, but it's a really nice speaker. I mean, look at the build quality, the fiberglass cone on it, the dust cap, the surround. So you can really appreciate that there's build quality for the price point. I mean, the steel form basket, it's really good. The magnet. I mean, we can, when you're designing a speaker for an entry level price point, you can design such a powerful speaker because then you need a really powerful application to drive them correctly. So the speaker has been designed with sensitivity and efficiency as its main focus. We also have a small and compact tweeter we can mount almost anywhere, as all Gladen tweeters is a silk dome tweeter. We got the Gladen logo embossed on the grill. It's a really nice looking tweeter. And we also have a small crossover, which is designed again for ease of installation. There is no big crossover on the Alpha series because we just focus on making the installation easier for you guys. So it's an inline crossover for the tweeter, again with adjustment for the level. So it's a really great offering for those of you that are looking for a system that doesn't break the bank.
Okay, German, I think we've really done a great job presenting all the different series of full range speakers, but we can't let you get away without talking about some bass. I mean, this is why we do car audio. So what offering do you have in Gladen when it comes to subwoofers?
So Ben, we have a complete line of offerings when it comes to subwoofers with Gladen. We have our sound quality subs, which are the Aerospace and the Pro Series. They both come in a 10-inch offering. But today we're going to focus on our most popular series of subs, the RSX and the Alpha subs. So diving deep into the RSX, we have a complete offering with 4 subs. We have a 6.5-inch subwoofer, we have an 8-inch, a 10, and a 12. Let me tell you some fun fact about the 6.5s. Last year at Knowledge Fest, we have one of our reps, Mike Rios, had a Stinger with 4 6.5s ported on the back of his car. People were always thinking that there were 2 12s in that car. I mean, that car jammed. They can get down there. They can take a lot of power. I mean, they are great subs both for sound quality and for when you also want to have a little bit of fun. 6.5 got you covered on the smallest space possible. But we also have the complete offering if you want to scale it up to an 8-inch, even for a 10, or if you want to do a 12-inch subwoofer, we got you covered with the complete line of RSX subs. So let's take a close look at the RSX 12 that we have here at the studio for you guys. I mean, we can, as soon as you look at the sub, you know this sub is a big deal. I mean, it has a paper cone that is being coated to be robust, but it's yet flexible, so it can play really low frequencies and it can extend without any distortion. You can see all the stitching, the red stitching on the cone, which I think it looks really cool. We have a heavy duty surround. And if you look at the back of the sub, you're going to see the design on the basket. You can tell the sub is no joke. I mean, the basket is really robust. Look at the size of the magnet, the tinsel lids. I mean, the build quality of this sub is just amazing. It's a great overall performing sub. So same as we were talking with the RS speakers, Ben, with the RSX subs, we have the same application for when space is a problem. We have our series line of subwoofers on the RSX line. We have 2 offerings in this case. We have a 10-inch and an 8-inch subwoofer. They are both dual true-on voice code applications. I mean, we can just put them in series, get a 4-ohm load for any amplifier. We have the dual true ohm if we're looking, let's say if we're doing like a pico amp from the Moscone series and we want to take advantage of the 2-ohm channels. And we can hook up one of these subwoofers directly to one of those pico amps. It just works phenomenal. I mean, they are really shallow, so it's great for pickup trucks or like a front passenger subwoofer or any car that we need a tight space or build a great sub. We can offer you either the 10-inch or an 8-inch on the RSX line of speakers. So another of our best-selling subwoofers, Ben, would be the Alpha series of sub, which is our entry-level line. We have 2 offerings, a 10-inch and a 12-inch. And let me tell you something, they might be really good and competitive on price, but that doesn't mean that they can't take some power. We abuse these babies oftenly. We just build either sealed enclosures or ported enclosures. The sub works really good on both of them. It's really efficient. So if your amplifier doesn't have that much power, this is the sub that you want to use. It really performs even on the tightest applications when you don't have enough power. I mean, it's a sub that really outperforms for the price point. I mean, we have one here at the studio that we can take a look. It's as you can see, again, the same philosophy with the RSX series of subs, the same mineral cone coated cone. the Gladen logo on the center. I mean, a really robust surround. Again, for the price point of this subwoofer, it's a really, really great build quality. If you look at the basket, if we appreciate the magnet size, the connections, I mean, everything on this subwoofer screams quality. It's a really, really great performing sub when you're looking for a, when you're tight on budget or your customer doesn't want to spend a lot of money. I mean, this is the sub that I would use. It just sounds so good and it can jump too. So it's a really another great offering from Gladen, the Alpha series of subs.
And last but not least, let's not forget, Gladen is in fact a complete line. So you dealers out there, don't think it's just speakers. We've covered speakers, we've covered subwoofers, but there are also a great series of amplifiers coming out from the Gladen camp.
It's true, Ben. Many people usually forget that Gladen also builds amplifiers, and today we're going to talk about the RC series of amplifiers. It's a really, really nice series, and the key fact to me, again, it's the price point. It's a really competitive price point for how good these amplifiers perform. The key factor for me on the 4-channel and the 2-channel amplifiers is that they are Class AV. So at this price point, it's really, really hard to find a good sounding amplifier. I mean, you can find amplifiers that have lots of power, or you can find amplifiers that sound good, but it's really hard to find one that sounds really good and it also has a lot of power. So we're really proud of making these amplifiers as Class AV. They have a little bit more power in the competition. They sound really, really natural and lively. They are still compact enough to, let's say, if you want to install it under a seat or under a panel on the trunk, they're pretty small for that matter. So it's a cool thing that we have the Class AV amplifiers for the channels that will be driving the speakers, but we're also using Class D for where efficiency matters for the subwoofer, the mono amplifiers. So here, Ben, we can take a look at the complete family of the RC amplifiers. We have all of our mono subwoofer amplifiers. We have our 4-channel, and we also have a 5-channel. As I mentioned before, the 4-channel and 2-channel amplifiers are Class AV. The monos are Class D. So what happens with the 5-channel? It's a hybrid amplifier. The 4 channels for the speakers are Class AV, and the 5th channel for the subwoofer, it's a Class D. So it would basically be a 4-channel amp, the RC 105, which is 100 watts times 4, with a RC 600 built into the same chassis. I think it's a great amplifier, sounds really good, has a lot of powers, and again, for the price point, it's a really, really great sounding amp. So other than the complete family that you see here on the picture, we also have a big boy right here in studio for you guys, which is the RC 3200. As you can see, this beast of an amplifier is a 3200 watt mono amp designed for when you're building a crazy system with a lot of subs, or when you're using really, really powerful subs. This is the amp that you want to go with. I mean, look at those terminals. You have a really robust connection. You can even do a 1.0 cable input directly to the amplifier. We have our dual post connection for if we're using multiple subs. It just makes your life easier as an installer. We have our external bass knob connection. We have our light indicator to tell you what's going on with the amp, crossover, bass boost, control, all the adjustments into the amp. Another fact that it's cool about all of our, not just the RC 3200, but all of our amplifiers, they have high and low level inputs built in, so you don't need a high to low converter if you're installing one of those amps. And they have an AutoSense built in, so as soon as they detect signal from the deck power, they will turn on.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was GERMAN SCHULMEISTER, product expert over at Gladen, as well as Orca. Now, if you want any more information or details and specs on any of the products that have been presented on today's show, make sure you check out the official Gladen website listed right here. And if you happen to be a dealer in Canada interested, like, where do I get this stuff? Well, you need to know that the official exclusive distributor of all things Gladen in Canada is, in fact, Trends Electronics. What choice do I have but to reach out to the man, GMAC, Grant McFadden himself, to kind of get some perspective on this product from a Canadian view. So, Grant, Gladen is obviously a high-end, very engineered line. Trends obviously is, man, talk about a lineup of offering from a distribution standpoint. What are your thoughts on this line, and what message do you have for dealers considering taking a closer look at Gladen?
Well, my hope from today was to show dealers the vast offering they have from Gladen. It's not just 1 or 2 pieces, all the way from the Aerospace speakers at the flagship level, all the way down to the Alpha Series speakers and the RC amplifiers. We've got everything from, price point all the way up to flagship audiophile grade products. People that haven't heard the Aerospace speakers or the new Pro Series, you should definitely give them a listen because it'll turn your head. It's a brand that's got some serious damage that they can cause with the disrupting the market with other brands. So whether it's Aerospace, the new Pro Series, our most popular series is the RS, our Alpha Series speakers and subwoofers, and all the way down to the Gladen RC Series amplifiers. It's a full product offering top to bottom.
Now, I, for one, recognize not only the engineering prowess of this brand, but also some of the unique features and the quality. Now, having not heard them yet, I can tell you that what has been presented here today is certainly a contender in that higher end category. But what really intrigues me is some of that entry stuff like the Alpha Series. Can you maybe point out 2 or 3 SKUs that you think, if a dealer was going to try out, what should they absolutely edition?
Top 3 picks, if you're really checking out the line, would be, obviously the RSX subwoofers from the 6.5, 8, 10, and a 12. These things are an absolute beast of a subwoofer. Super high performance, lots of SPL, sound really great doing it, built like a tank, and great value for the money. Complementing the RS subwoofers, RSX subwoofers will be the RS line of speakers and coaxial speakers. So the RS 165 is by far our most popular unit component set. And then the shallow one, obviously, for those applications where you need to have a shallow mounting depth. And then bang for the buck, everyone that's played with these Alpha speakers are blown away. The sound quality for the price you get, we're using a Silk Dome tweeter at this price level. It's unheard of. It's an amazing set of sounding speakers. You can run them off a deck power, run them off a small amplifier. If you want to throw some power at them, they'll take it as well. So, talking about some of the unique features again, the 3 ohm impedance on all the coaxials and mid-bass speakers, you're going to get more jam for the dollar. And our big bad boy subwoofers are awesome value for the money. So top to bottom, it's an awesome line.
I want to take this opportunity to thank my guests today, both GERMAN SCHULMEISTER from Gladen as well as Grant McFadder from Trends Electronics. My closing thoughts on Gladen: it is a relatively new brand as far as I'm concerned, especially in the Canadian market, but it is an exciting a brand that has lineage unlike any other. With their aerospace engineering background, certainly makes me wonder the detail and the type of rigorous testing that goes into the development of said product certainly is a great selling point. And you can see from the design that there is something different, a je ne sais quoi, that makes the Gladen products kind of stand out from the marketplace. Very intriguing to know that they go from very high end, such as their aerospace speakers, right down to an entry-level Alpha Series that are a fantastic, quick upgrade, but has those features that really make it set out as a premium brand. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.